Welcome to the last video of the Did You Know series, where we showcase facts that you may or may not know. Some of these facts may be in plain sight to older players, but may be the first time that newer players to the franchise have ever seen them before. Tonight, with this being the final episode of the series, before pulling it out of rotation, I decided to have the series go out with a bang, and have not 3, not 5, no, but 8 facts in total for you all tonight. So without any further hesitation, let's get started. Starting things off relatively simple, did you know? As pointed out by the Twilight enthusiast, in the backyard battleground, if the player was to head over to the pair of old tellies sat on each other to represent the split screen mode, one will notice that by looking at the pictures displayed on screen, they can see it to be screenshots of an early version of the game. Some of the more notable changes include the Chomper only having 150 health by default, as opposed to 175. The characters using older icons in the backyard. There are placeholder icons to represent the controller buttons to activate each of the abilities. And the sign on the stand in the sewers says Gnome Depot, whereas now, it just says closed. Whilst these are likely just leftover screenshots that the developers chose to use to represent the split screen mode, it is nice to see some of the game's past permanently contained within the modern version of the game, for players to look back on if they wish to find it. Secondly, did you also know, on the Zomburbia map, specifically at the second point, if you are to walk up to this house just across the objective, and look at the right angle, you can actually stick your camera inside this wall right here, and be able to see through the other walls of the house. This only applies to smaller classes such as Imp and Pea Shooter, as most other classes are far too tall to properly take advantage of this trick. Whilst this may have niche uses, it can occasionally come in handy if you want to get a bit more information on where your enemies are hiding. Up next, heading all the way back to PvZ2, did you know? As pointed out by Chad Scared, some of the icons used in the almanac's entries for zombies have some anomalies within them. These include the barrel roller zombie's face having a noticeably different design on the icon compared to the actual enemy, the icon for the Zombot plank walker having a line erased out of the sprite, the buckethead peasant zombie having the shoulder pads of a knight, so on so forth. Whilst these could be just oversights on the developer's behalf, the fact that it happens on multiple occasions across several different worlds implies that not much communication really happens between the different development teams, and as such, allows these constant errors to slip through the cracks and end up in the live service version of the game. Heading forward to PvZ Heroes now, did you know? The legendary card Doubled Mint, as you well know, doubles its stats at the end of every turn, which can lead it into becoming a monster if not dealt with quickly. However, if you end up letting the Doubled Mint survive and accumulate so much health that not only will the stat numbers overlap each other, causing visual clutter, but eventually, out of nowhere, it will seemingly just die. This is because the game only accepts numbers up to the 32-bit integer limit, which is the following number on screen. Because Doubled Mint doubles its stats every time, when its health exceeds this value, it ends up overflowing, becoming a negative number. This results in Doubled Mint actually killing itself due to its stats becoming far too high for the game to handle. So whilst this will rarely happen in a normal game, if you have no more options to kill it, you can essentially stall it out if you have enough cards, and eventually it will kill itself. You just need to make sure that something stays within the same lane as it in order to block the increasing damage. Did you also know, as once more pointed out by Noobmaster Pro, there are certain abilities in the game that if used at the same time as you enter a cannon, they can cause some strange interactions and occasionally funky shit to happen. A few examples of these include Ultra Tackle, Scientist Warp, Rainbow Warp, and Twilight Warp. Whilst these may not exactly have much of an impact in standard gameplay, they can create hilarious results if used in the right circumstances, or maybe even some other funky shit. Up next, did you know? As pointed out by Twilight enthusiast, during the fight against the Rainbow Guardian, if the player is able to kill all of the gnomes that spawn out of the portal, they can hear what sounds like a more tamer version of the music that is currently playing. Here, take a close listen. Whilst it is hard to make out given the sound effects as well as how rare it is to hear at all, it is still nice to see the developers adding in these subtle touches of detail even to what kind of music is playing. And lastly, for our final fact of the series, did you know, as pointed out and discovered by Noob Master Pro, there is an unused difficulty setting present within the game files that for some strange reason grants the entire plant faction 20 times their normal health. This is rather strange and only one side having the massive health spike, though it could possibly be remnants of an unused game mode or something else entirely, but without much of a lead to go on, we cannot say for certain as to what it is. A massive thanks to everyone who passed down facts for this series whilst it was active. As a temporary replacement, the ability analysis series will be returning for a few weeks, as to clean up all the abilities that never made it before a proper series is swapped into its place. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more shit like this. Have fun.